Hey guys, how are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. And I want to talk about WWDC 2017. Now, Apple managed to do something they haven't for a while, and that is to actually impress me. All right, so we're going to be going through 5 things that actually impressed me yesterday at the conference. Starting with the naming High Sierra. I mean, how brilliant is that? I'm so glad they were self aware at how ridiculous that sounds. But no, that's a joke. That's actually kind of a shit name. The actual first thing that impressed me is Apple updated their file and storage system since 30 years. And what we have now is a much faster, and more secure file system on the Mac, on Mac OS. So that is really impressive. And I've got to say, that's actually a huge thing I'm looking forward to just in the software update because if it can make duplicating files and stuff like that much faster, then holy shit, sign me up for that. Same with like, even if things just load up faster, stuff like that. Like, yes, please use full advantage of the PCI SSDs that we have in these machines, please. So I'm so glad that they did that. That's the first thing that impressed me. Number two would be peer to peer Apple Pay. I mean, I gotta say, I use Apple Pay all the time. I use it at the grocery store, I use it at the gas station, I use it at, fast food places, restaurants, whatever. Apple Pay, I I basically never use my actual cards anymore. So the fact that now I can have roommates send me payments through Apple Pay instead of using e-transfers, that I can send payments to family back and forth like that in a more secure, faster, and much simpler way, just through iMessage using your fingerprint scanner, Touch ID, and that's awesome. That is actually really really cool, and I think that's a selling feature almost of an iOS device now. Like for me, that would be. I use shit like that all the time, um, like other services like PayPal or e-transfers, and this is faster, easier, and more secure. So, and it's already using Apple Pay, which I use all the time. So yes, that is awesome. Number three, the iPad version of iOS specifically, I thought was awesome. I mean, iPads have been like big useless iPods for a while here. Like I found some niche uses for them, but in general, like it was just like this is just iOS on a huge ass screen. Like I don't need that. But now with adding things like the dock, with adding a file manager, much better multitasking, drag and drop, all of that kind of stuff. Like holy crap, this is actually like this can now actually compete with something like a Surface or a MacBook, aside from the fact that like it doesn't have like any ports or anything, but just from a usability standpoint and being able to actually manage your files on the system in one spot, and the multitasking has been much improved, like stuff like that. Drag and drop and stuff like that is just basic things on a computing device that at least I use all the time, that I'm happy that the iPad got now, because that was those features were all something that made the iPad feel lackluster and kind of like a very overpriced iPod instead of a alternative to a computer. So that right there just makes anybody that owns an iPad that's going to get this update, should make them very happy, because you're going to get, I think, a lot more usability out of that iPad now. The fourth thing that Apple actually impressed me with here is the iMac Pro. I mean, come on, guys. How can we not fucking talk about the iMac Pro? Now, it's interesting. There's a good side to this and a bad side to this. I mean, the one thing is it's an insane beast. I mean, literally, what you get for the money is actually really good, especially considering you get that 5K display in there. It's got the brand new Intel chips, the fucking 18 core processor. It's got the unreleased Vega GPUs in it. Like the 16 gigs of VRAM, 128 gigs of of RAM. I mean, holy shit, they did not hold back. And it's an iMac. It's not a big clunky desktop. It's all of that insane power, hopefully cooled well as they showed. So hopefully that's actually holds up. Um, in an iMac with a 5K display, and fuckingly, they managed to actually make a wireless keyboard with a number pad on it. I mean, seriously, you had to wait to launch an iMac Pro to give us that. I mean, you could have shipped that like 5 years ago. Come on. But yeah, I am wholly impressed with the iMac Pro. But here's the only thing. It's a pro machine until you need to upgrade it. I mean, we don't know all the details about upgrades and stuff, but obviously we're assuming the processor won't be upgradable. Neither will the GPU. Maybe the RAM that might still be left open. Who knows? But it's a very expensive static machine. Now, to their defense, uh, I'm not rich, so every time that I save my money up and I get like a really, really good computer, like I actually bought the trash can Mac Pro. That's lasted me for years and years and years. And when I actually thought about upgrading, I was actually just thinking about buying a new computer anyway. So if this machine is powerful enough to get you through a stretch of 4 or 5 years, you're probably not going to be thinking of upgrading at that point anyways. You're most likely going to be thinking of just getting a new computer. So I don't know, but I'm also holding out for those rumors on the new Mac Pro coming next year. That's apparently modular, but those are all just rumors, so we'll keep up to date with that. But iMac Pro, that was an awesome surprise. Now, I heard rumors about it, but I didn't know it was going to be that beast of a machine. Holy shit. Anyways, moving on, number 6. Now, this one is a kind of a cheat because it's not released yet either, and we don't really know anything about it. And unlike the iMac Pro, where you can tell us the specs and show it to us, and we can assume what it's like, the HomePod, which is the 6th thing that impressed me, is something that's either going to be awesome or once you hear it, it's going to be shit and you're not going to like it. Now, the good news is other people have said they have heard it in a closed room and that it actually sounded better to them than the Play 5 by Sonos, which that would be a really good feat for a wireless speaker of that size. If it sounds better than the Play 5, Apple has done good, especially at that price point of $350 American. And on top of that, to have like Siri in your smart home and to, say, Siri, remind me to do this, send a message here, make my calendar appointment for this, etc. Home, HomeKit control, all that kind of shit. That's all kind of just the cherry on top. So if that speaker actually sounds good, then fantastic. That's awesome. I'm glad that Apple still cares about music, especially enough to actually release an actual speaker, and not just like a shit speaker, hopefully, but an actual decent little speaker there. And it looks like they've been able to make it very compact while also keeping the audio quality top notch, at least for a wireless speaker. Obviously, this isn't like some hi-fi audio system, but for a wireless speaker, I've heard the Sonos Play 1s, 3s, and 5s. They sound fantastic. And if the HomePod can beat that, or at least match that, Apple has done good. All right, guys, so those were the 6 things that impressed me the most about WWDC 2017. But I do want to give a shout out to a few other things that aren't really impressive, but I just, thought they were cute or whatever. There's the Toy Story faces for the Apple Watch, which sign me up. Like, Toy Story was my favorite series as a kid, so that's, useless, but hey, I'll welcome that. And then the Safari auto blocking and tracking prevention features. I mean, I'm always all for that. I use ad block and shit anyways, but if Apple is willing to implement that natively into the browser, that just adds even more security to Safari. And honestly, I don't know. I use Safari as my main browser. I hate going out of Safari. I don't know. It seems like everyone else hates it and I'm the only one that uses it. But for me, it's much faster. It's much easier to organize everything. It's a lot better with handling extensions and RAM and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know why no one uses it, especially on the Mac side. Like obviously on the PC side, I understand, but if you have a Mac, like really give Safari another shot. Photos got upgraded, which is awesome because Apple stopped, updating Aperture and they canceled Aperture. So the fact that Photos now got much better edit options is great. The new control center in iOS is actually pretty cool too, especially with the kind of organizational aspect and the customizability of it. And of course, the camera effects in iOS, especially that one with the very long exposure effects, that is pretty badass. But those things, they're not wholly impressive. Those things have all been done with software before or whatever. But I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I think Apple done pretty good. They did pretty good 2017. Hopefully they keep it going next year. And I do want to see a new like the standard iMacs. I do want to see a new design. Like, come on, the Surface Studio has thinner bezels and it just looks sexier. Uh, Come on, Apple, redesign those bezels. They kind of look outdated as fuck. Anyways, guys, thanks for sticking around, and I'll talk to you next time anything interesting happens. Stick around on the channel. I make a variety of different content and commentary. So if you like that kind of stuff, go ahead, subscribe, follow, whatever you want or not. Up to you. Anyways, guys, have a good one. I'll see you next time.